So whether you're going to watch it again, or you're thinking of picking up The Next Generation for the first time, this is undoubtedly the best possible guide to the first season of Star Trek The Next Generation. Never seen it before? Cool. There are going to be spoilers, but then the show is as old as I am, so there's that. I will promise not to give away plots for the episodes I recommend. And just so you know, my favorites are going to be Stuns, while the skips are going to be Shuns. So, let's jump right in. The Enterprise visits a matriarchal planet, and the away team gets away from some mysterious illness that happens on the ship. There's potential government overthrow and some serious social unrest on the planet. Serious talk, it looks like this was supposed to be a feminist episode, but then, of our two speaking guest stars, one is seduced by Riker, and the other turns out to be in cahoots with the dude who wants to overturn women's rule. So, not a great track record. Featuring...
As this is a female-dominated society, you might wish to make the initial contact.
Thank you, sir.
Open hailing frequencies.
Hailing frequencies open, sir. This is Counselor Deanna Troi from the USS Enterprise.
I am Beata, the elected one. How may we assist you, Counselor?
Troi, as captain for 5 minutes. Bizarre assumptions about gender roles.
Our away team has beamed down to an unusual matriarchal society where the female is as aggressively dominant as the male gender was on Earth hundreds of years ago. Here, the female is the hunter, the soldier, larger and stronger than the male. An arrangement considered most sensible and natural.
Dryer vent fashion. Stimulation.
Quite stimulating, wouldn't you say?
No.
Riker's nipple, but make it fashion. The giggles. And the Klingon sneeze. Final verdict? Shun. A group of folks from a species called the Binars, that come in pairs, steals the ship because they can only think in binaries, so they can either steal it or not, I guess. And with a choice like that, it wouldn't take a starship. They lock Riker in the holodeck with Picard, a trombone, and a raging hard-on. Hijinks ensue. Featuring this starbase shot that you'll see several dozen more times over the course of the series. Literal technobabble. Shoe scrapers, but make 'em fashion. Holographic stock photo. And the male gaze, now with bonus smoke machine. Final verdict? Shun. So, how about a hybrid of Benjamin Button and the old Trek chestnut that is the shady-ass Admiral? It's forgettable. This is the kind of episode that made it into a 24-episode season, but definitely wouldn't have made it into a modern season. Then again, would The Next Generation really have made it past season 1? But I digress. Featuring this excellent old age makeup. This actor, who has definitely seen an elderly person before, for sure, because he captures mannerisms so well. And my uncertainty about whether the acting is actually brilliant because the character doesn't know how to be an old guy, or, yeah, I don't know. Final verdict? Shun. The sterile inhabitants of a mythical planet capture a bunch of kids from the Enterprise and try to make new families. It's not a bad idea, and it's worth acknowledging because the show devoted a full episode to that "we have kids on this ship" terrible idea, but it just kinda doesn't go anywhere. It's 40 minutes of Stockholm Syndrome and ship planning, and then it seems like Dr. Crusher just fixes their sterility and everything's fine. They get the kids back. It's great. Featuring a planet decloaking off the port bow.
Wesley. They've taken my son.
A possible reconsideration about selling children. The obvious solution to sterility being kidnapping.
Why were these specific children taken?
We can't be sure. We do know the Aldeans can't have children of their own.
Then they won't let them go easily.
Feel the notes inside your head.
My aesthetic. And, the littlest hunger strike. Final verdict, shun. Now here's a good old-fashioned science fiction story. Well, there's a lot of science, sometimes too much, like that first post-credit scene that takes like 10 minutes. So that's not great, but if you last 10 minutes into this episode, this one's a keeper. Also, when I was a kid, the laser that's in this episode scared the bejesus out of me. Featuring, like, lots and lots of talk about actual terraforming, as in you're actually touring some sort of scientific facility.
Usually we create basins using hydraulic landscaping, but the water on this planet is subsurface and extremely high in salt content. We're just about to begin pumping and filtering the water, removing the salt, oxygenating, and replacing. Next, we introduce microorganisms. And when the process is complete, we'll have a lush, arable biosphere.
Make it sound poetic.
I think it's the best job in the universe.
A mullet. The most dramatic entrance ever.
I'm Director Mundell, and I'm sorry about having been so abrupt during our initial contact, but being isolated, one tends to forget the social graces.
Data dodging faster than the speed of light. I lied in the last episode, and Beverly actually gets to be a scientist in this one, and it's great.
Since we're dealing with a fundamental question, let's use the basic scientific method. Observe, theorize, and attempt to prove it.
Riker being really concerned, wink, about the one woman on the research team. And ugly bags of mostly water. Final verdict? Stun. Wesley tries and fails to get into Starfleet Academy. More importantly, there's foreshadowing for an upcoming episode, but there's not actually any reason why this one is necessary to get that one. Featuring the crew's literal child genius who can, remember, rewrite the flagship on the fly, which its chief engineer can't do.
It would take weeks of laying out new circuits.
Why not just see it in your head?
Failing to even get admitted to the basic-ass space college that spits out any schmuck with a pulse to be disruptor fodder when things get serious. I get that this is supposed to be character growth for Wesley, but come on, at least make it kind of plausible with the character you set up. Final verdict, shun. The Klingons are back, and they have a story, and Worf gets to do something. Not that he hasn't thus far, but basically, the most that Michael Dorn has been able to do with the character is growl at that Klingon fishnets lady from Hide and Q. But this actually lays some groundwork for all of the development of the Klingons the next generation will do. Featuring the same old-ass Klingon ship. Seriously, this is like tanks versus horses and buggies or something. Reckless child endangerment. Seriously, why are there kids on this ship? Raptor talons, but make it fashion. Seriously, what is the point of that? And Geordi vision. seriously into the 80s video editing. Final verdict? Stun. So I'm not going to show any of it, but there's actually quite a bit of good Crusher Picard development, and this is actually one of the first episodes where they use most of the ensemble and pace 3 related stories simultaneously. Plus, Wesley doesn't end up saving the day, and that's a good thing. Featuring This Uncannily Blue Sky, a Your Mom joke,
Who sent you here to look?
Your mother.
The Good Ship Lollipop,
No, the name of my ship is the Lollipop.
I have no knowledge of that ship.
It's just been commissioned. It's a good ship.
This Sneaky Little Bastard, Captain Geordie, which is good, but also why isn't Lieutenant Commander Troy the captain? A pissing contest, and also Troy outranks you both.
We've got to hold out as long as we can. Now, if we can disable our attacker, if only for a few seconds, we can drop our shields and beat the away team back aboard.
If we follow that plan, we'll lose the Enterprise. In view of the present crisis, I believe you should relinquish command to me.
No.
I outrank you.
Mr. Logan, I'm in command.
And this guy, whose actual first name is Orful, like someone decided to make the worst name ever by combining awful and landfill. Final verdict? Stun. Do you enjoy your allegory heavy-handed and barely allegorical? Do you enjoy kowtowing to Dare in the war on drugs? Then oh boy do I have the episode for you.
You have to understand, drugs can make you feel good.
Final verdict, shun. Shun hard. A shuttle crash and the death of a major character await you. There's an interesting premise in this episode, and the bad guy is reminiscent of some old Golden Age science fiction, at least in conception, if not in execution. But it feels awkwardly paced because of what it has to cover. Still, there's really no way you can miss this episode. Featuring Worf betting on Tasha.
You are favored in the ship's pool.
You bet on me?
A sure thing.
Captain.
Leland T. Lynch. Hydraulics. Picard's finger gavel. Evil Alex Mack. Jonathan Frakes apparently deciding his salary was enough to dump him into a tub full of Vaseline and ink. And seriously, Jonathan Frakes, this was not a good decision. Final verdict, stun. I did not remember that this episode happened. Featuring Picard's anxiety towel, 80s future Skype, ruffles, but make it fashion, this musical dildo accordion, an unlimited data plan, and the front and part of the back and no sides of an upper jumpsuit in draped future couch fabric with matching boots. Final verdict, shun. So, that episode I said was leading up to a later one? Here it is. This one's good and creepy, and it shows the direction the Next Generation might have gone in if things had been different. That's another way of saying you're not going to find an episode like this in the entire franchise, so enjoy this one. Featuring Brent Spiner providing me with the only laugh I ever need. Clandestine goings-on. Orders from a space parrot. Background Scantman. Damn, look at those legs. Flying kicks. very flimsy glass table, very flimsy doors, extreme sexual tension. Definitely not the salad I ordered. More faster than light dodging. And phasering that booty. Oh, yeah. Final verdict? Stunned. And here's the final episode of the first season of Next Generation. It has some strong points, and the show introduces a major player, the Romulans. And their appearance actually works very well as some foreshadowing for the seasons to come. Stay tuned. Featuring more casual sexual harassment.
You know, you just about the prettiest little old doctor I ever seen.
The Romulans getting a major ship upgrade. Worf is literally overwhelming. Picard's welcome.
Welcome to the 24th century.
Troy gets to be chief diplomat for a second.
For some reason, they have exhibited a fascination with humans, and it is that fascination, more than anything else, that has kept the peace.
This tacky-ass guitar. 80s money dude.
You haven't got a clue.
And a second season. Huzzah!
Do you understand my meaning, Captain? We are back.
I think our lives just became a lot more complicated.
Final verdict? Stunned.